Good afternoon, viewers. This is our latest national COVID restrictions update. With me today, I have Steve Grace from South Australia and Northern Territory. He'll also be covering for David Lewis, who is unfortunately not well today in WA. David Batty is going to look after Victoria, New South Wales, ACT and Tasmania, and Anthony Miles will give us an update on any news that may be taking place in Queensland. So Steve, maybe you can do the central and western seaboard to start off with.
Yeah, no worries. Thanks, Barry. So things moving along quite nicely over here. We have had NT come out of their lockdown, obviously, and they've reopened gyms as of last week. A little bit later than what we originally would have liked. We wanted gyms to be open along with many other businesses and industries. That wasn't the case. So what we've done in response to that is we've had a couple of meetings now with the Chief Executive Officer of the Department of Industry, Tourism and Trade up there in the NT. He's been really helpful in pushing us forward to develop a framework, which is what we've done in many other states. So we're meeting with NT Health on, I believe it's Thursday, to develop a framework of eased restrictions for Northern Territory, which will be something that they adopt and then use if there is another outbreak. Touch wood that there's not, but we'll have something in place so that gyms can open sooner, but also safer in the NT if that does occur again. The other thing I wanted to mention just quickly, there has been some support offered to businesses in the NT. So $1,000 for any business that was affected during the first lockdown, which all businesses were involved in, and then up to $2,000 extra on top of that for anyone that was forced to shut down in the second week, which is places like gyms, obviously nightclubs, etc. So that has only just recently closed. So hopefully everyone got into that and applied. If you didn't apply for that and you still require support, make sure you let me know. There is an avenue where you can apply late, but I'll need to give you specific details of who to contact and how to do that. So make sure you do reach out to us here at Fitness Australia. Reach me via my email or just through our customer service, and they'll pass you on. I can give you those details. So other than that, things are going quite well here in South Australia. No changes here in SA or in WA, apart from some slight changes to borders and things like that. But yeah, otherwise going quite well.
Thanks, Steve. Anthony, up in the sunny state, what's happening up there?
Yeah, look, we're going well up here. So we've obviously had no cases for a while, which has benefited us from staying open. The only restrictions over the last couple of weeks have just been the 1 per 2 square meters as opposed to 4 previously, and with masks, carrying them on you and having them on you when you basically walk out the door. If you're outdoors and you can distance properly from other people, then there's no need for masks. And indoors, highly suggesting that when people go into a club that they've got their mask on, and then it's up to them and obviously the club managers or owners to make a call on the mask within there. The rule basically says that as long as you can socially distance 1.5 meters from another person, you don't need to wear them. But again, if it is busy at night time or the peak time, then obviously we'd encourage, if you're going to be close to people, having them on in between sets or moving from equipment as well. That's the most of it. We do obviously have, sorry, I was just double checking that. We do, of course, have, let me go back. The Queensland has a 2021 COVID-19 business support grant. So if people do want to look at that again, they can go through customer service, and I'll make sure they've got the details there about support package. And sole traders, for example, can apply for up to $1,000 for that period that we were closed in August. It was only a short period, but that is there, and businesses are eligible to jump on and apply for that.
Thanks, Anthony. Now, David Batty, you're going to be dominating most of this session, I think, because of what's happening in your states. But yeah, over to you, mate.
Okay, so as you've heard, and the first couple of questions have come through around the easing of restrictions around vaccinated people, and this seems to be something that New South Wales will be heading forward with across a lot of businesses and a lot of industries for the future. The questions around the fully vaccinated groups of 5, including the trainer, that has come to their attention. It's been a very positive conversation, but the downside is that the actual legislation and the rules have not actually policy been written yet to actually show how that's going to work for us as an industry and how it's going to work going forward. But it is definitely something that we're talking to New South Wales Health as well as Sport and Rec and the ministers up there around this. So it's a positive step forward, but we're going to have to figure out exactly what it's going to mean.
Okay, and ACT, anything there? I see that.
ACT, yeah, they've just extended their lockdown by 2 weeks. You're now allowed to access your facility for the purposes of filming. I'm in conversations with them around trying to get outdoor personal training allowed, because at the moment outdoor personal training is not allowed in the ACT, though they have extended your ability to be outdoors by 1 hour to 2 hours now rather than the 1 hour. And they're also extending their business support packages to continue on. So there's support packages from up to about $10,000, I believe, at the moment. So I will get the details of anybody who needs those support packages. If you forward me an email, I'll respond with where to find those support packages, but they're definitely there.
Okay, in Victoria?
Victoria, I'm having conversations at the moment in Victoria around 2 areas of possibility, which is going to be filming within your studios as well as outdoor personal training, which currently is not allowed. These are positive conversations. They seem to be something that has some legs. Not sure what the numbers will be, whether there'll be one-on-one personal training, small group training, what it will be, but at least it's been a positive communication up until now.
Thanks, David. So for the people that are tuning into this webinar, there'll be a live poll go onto our site later on this afternoon, just asking for your views on vaccination for employees, vaccination for people attending a gym. Fitness Australia at the moment doesn't actually have a definitive position. We are out asking our members what their views are. Obviously, we're having quite a few discussions with different health departments about the possibility of vaccine passports and so on. But at this stage, we haven't gone back to any government authority and said yes, no, or we've said maybe, depending on what may be on the table, I guess. So if you can just look out for that poll, that'll be up live later on this afternoon, and just give us your views on that situation with the potential for vaccine passports. As David said, I'm reasonably confident that that'll be on offer in New South Wales. So the way that the government is speaking up here on a daily basis with all kinds of different industries indicates that's the way it's going to go. Certainly with the outdoor boot camp groups of 5 that David's mentioned, as you'd be aware, the criteria there is that the personal trainer plus the 4 clients must all be vaccinated. How that's going to be proved is what David's been indicating, but I think that's the way things are going to be going as well, certainly the hospitality sector as well. So please look out for that poll and give us your views on that. I'd also remind all the viewers that the membership of Fitness Australia for all members has been extended at no cost, depending on which state you are in. That covers obviously Victoria, New South Wales and the ACT particularly, and there's a different period for each one of those states. Let's go back to some of these questions here that we've got. What about one-on-one indoor PT, double vaccinated with COVID safe protocols in New South Wales? David, any?
That's been something that's come up a couple of times in conversations I've had with both health and that. At the moment, anything indoors is off limits, and it's not going to be something they do in their first round of easing. But when they're looking at those higher percentages, those 70% vaccination rates and things like that, then they're definitely looking at opening that up. They are looking at ways that they can open up businesses to both vaccinated and unvaccinated, but to start off with, they're probably going to ease the restrictions for those who are vaccinated quicker. And that's the idea here. It's not going to be that it will always be vaccinated versus non-vaccinated or having to segregate anything. They'll just allow additional freedoms for those people who are less likely to spread the virus around under their current restriction.
Yeah, there's a question here from Michelle. Is outdoor PT allowed for one person and coach New South Wales? That's the situation now, is it not?
It is, yeah, it is. They've got to stay within their local government area. They must adhere to all the other COVID safe rules, distancing, and all those kinds of things. We're recommending definitely that they're wearing masks, especially with their clients. Make sure that there's minimizing the amount of contact or any spacing. You've got to make sure that there's additional spacing allowed there. But yeah, yes, you are allowed to do one-on-one outdoor personal training in a public area.
Yeah, Jill, how are you, Jill? Jill's asked a question here. What happens to members and trainers who medically are unable to have a vaccine? I'm assuming that they would have an exemption, as they do under other current sectors at the moment. Would you agree with that, David?
I definitely agree with that. So
yeah.
The medical reasons will always have an exclusion in that, but that also means that person is more vulnerable on top of that. So there's also an increased risk there. So I'm unsure what they'll fall on, but they will be some kind of medical exclusion there, I'm sure.
Are outdoor swimming pools closed in New South Wales, and what about Queensland?
Outdoor swimming pools at the moment, I believe, are closed because they're a gathering space. I will find out the exact ruling on the outdoor swimming pools. I did not chase that up recently, I apologise, but I will get back to you. If you'd like to send me an email through, I'll get back to you with the exact wording on that one.
And Queensland, Anthony?
Yeah, I haven't heard anything that they're not. A lot of the facilities that have outdoor pools as part of their setup are open, and they're definitely trading, and they've definitely got people in there. So I can't imagine why outdoor pools wouldn't be in Queensland.
Yeah, okay. Well, you guys have done a good coverage here, because that's all the questions here. There's a question from Cameron. Any word on business owners who do not want to discriminate against vaccinated versus unvaccinated, assuming select individual to make the decision? That would be my understanding. It's there is no mandatory at this stage in our sector. It may come down the track, depending on which way the federal government and various state governments go. There seems to be a move for more sectors to be included in the mandatory vaccination. But at the moment, that will always be, I would have thought, individual business owners' discretion to make that call themselves. Some new messages come in here. Where are we? In New South Wales, indoor gym expect to reopen end of October. Is that correct estimate?
It's like a piece of string at the moment. It'll depend on a lot of things, vaccination numbers, appetite by government to change. So I wouldn't say that there's any exact time, but that is the time that's been bandied around in the media.
It is, and that's also been associated with what I've been reading, that if they do open, it will quite possibly be for the short term with a vaccine passport. But that will then be up to individual businesses to depend if that is economically viable for them. Our view, if they do go down that path, is that they still need to maintain every other financial support package that's available at the moment until such time as all the restrictions are removed and we get back to some degree of normality.
We know when the rule for 5 people in New South Wales will be released. It's usually released coming closer to the date. The reason that they'll extend it, they've given such a long leeway to that, is because they've got to figure out how they're going to show proof of vaccination and things like that. So it's going to be a fairly complex document once it comes out. So I'm unsure when they'll release it, but it will be a lot closer to the date.
Yeah, question from Heather here. Is there a date when we can start one-on-one outdoor sessions? Is that Victoria that Heather's probably asking?
It's probably Victoria or ACT, and both I'm unsure. I'm still in communication with both. We're trying our best to try to get that in.
Yeah, the question about more than one person from the same family with a PT, my understanding is it's still one-on-one?
It is one-on-one. You're only allowed outdoors with more than one person from the same family. They're allowed to be in that group, but you're not allowed to add to that group. So you cannot train a mother and daughter or 2 adults from the same household. They must be a one-on-one training only.
From Tim in New South Wales, if in an LGA of concern, can a non-vaccinated PT train someone one-on-one in a public area?
I believe that is still currently allowed, so I can't see an issue with that. I will find out the exact ruling on the vaccinated versus unvaccinated when it comes to the personal trainer and all the other people involved, and I'll get back to you with that.
Question from Kat here. Will Guild Insurance cover liability for transmission in gyms if unvaccinated clientele? Great question, Kat. In fact, we have asked Guild Insurance for their position on that, both in situations where the staff and or clients are not vaccinated under duty of care. Are you going to be covered? So we're waiting for Guild to come back to us on that one.
We got a question that's come through in the questions section from Rebecca around PTs. Yeah, it's regarding public place versus private place. You're not allowed to actually have any visitors in those areas into your residence, so you can't actually train people in their home or in your home, so it must be in a public place.
And same Q&A box, David, would Zoom classes continue for unvaccinated members?
I'm sure they will. There's no problems there. You can continue that.
Yep. New one come in. Will Aqua Fitness be limited to 5 in an outdoor pool?
That one I'm unsure. I'll definitely have to get back to you on that one. I'm guessing it'll be the same as any outdoor, but being that it's in a pool and that's a private place generally, not a public place, that may actually change how that works. So I'm guessing that it'll probably be a no because it's in a private place, but I'll have to get back to you on the exact on that.
Okay, and from Joe, are we still waiting to hear if we can do groups of 2 to 4 from September 13 if fully vaccinated?
Yeah, we're still in discussions on what that exactly looks like. So the ruling doesn't exist yet.
If that's New South Wales, though, that will be happening, though, won't it?
Yeah, we are anticipating that, but because the actual legislation hasn't been written, we can't actually determine exactly what the wording will be and how that they'll interpret it and what will work with that. But that's the way that they've had their discussions with us up till now.
Yeah. Okay, we're done. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you, viewers. We will keep running these sessions as often as we need to. And in the meantime, please remember that poll that I mentioned before about vaccinations, etc. And also just to remind you again that all members of Fitness Australia in the lockdown states will have an extended membership period at no cost added to their current membership. Thank you, Steve, David and Anthony, for your up-to-date news. Thank you for viewers for tuning in. Please do so next time around as well, and we'll try and keep you as up-to-date as possible. In the meantime, please keep checking our social media and Facebook, etc., for any changes that impact on you. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.